As it relates to the topic of suicide awareness and prevention, I can say that I was never suicidal, but I certainly, while never clinically diagnosed, I can certainly say there were signs of depression in my life, specifically as a teenager and in my senior year of high school. I was violated for the first time, sexually violated that is, when I want to say about 8 years old. And honestly, based on statistics, I know that there are many people in this room who were violated. That's just based on statistics. So at the time I was violated, I had my little cousin with me, and I had gone to visit a family member, and my little cousin had to use the bathroom, but I was afraid to take her to the bathroom because this man that's sitting in the seat next to me, he starts fondling me. And I said, man, if I get up and go to this bathroom, this man is going to follow me. And I was like, it was like I was paralyzed. So I had never told anybody that story. So several years later, that particular cousin that was with me, she was 3 at that time, she wound up being diagnosed with cancer, and she's no longer here with us. And I couldn't think to save my life. I was like, why am I so disturbed by this? She was a teenager, and that is heartbreaking, but it was like, there's something. And the Lord revealed to me the day before she died that the reason why I felt such a connection, why it was so burdensome to me, is because there was never closure from the time when she actually wound up wetting herself when she was 3, because I didn't take her to the bathroom, and I basically let her get in trouble because of some man. And so I learned throughout many of my experiences with being violated that a lot of people suffer in silence. They become paralyzed. They don't like to talk about what they in fact did experience. But I'm in a different place, and I just thank God that I am free to discuss it openly. I wasn't always there. And specifically as it relates to my high school year, there was a family member who I would say I was a victim. I don't like using that word, but I was a victim of statutory rape. And it was taking place for time and time again. And then it wasn't just a family member, it actually wound up being one of my teachers while I was in junior high school. So there's this pattern of stuff going on. And the thing is, when you have those types of experiences, you wind up being open to so much. You wind up, think something is awakened in you. And I became very promiscuous. And there was no man and woman, but here I am, definitely before the age of consent, which is 16 years old, and I'm having relations with grown men, basically, and I became very promiscuous. And so I shared some of this information with the family member who was married, whose husband had violated me, and then everything just came to a head one day. And when everything came to a head with respect to her husband, she shared with my father the things, well, not just what she discovered, but also the things that I had confided in her. So having said that, again, this was my senior year in high school, and so I'm extremely stressed. Now, understand, I was an honor student, all A's and B's, I never, even though those things were going on in my life, I never let it affect my education. But I never applied to any schools. I hadn't applied to any schools, hadn't applied for any scholarships. And it was by the grace of God that on the deadline date of Howard University's for their application process, my college counselor she helped me to fill out the application and took it to Howard University for me. And I got into Howard University, into the school of, or the College of Allied Health Sciences. So I had this aspiration to become a physical therapist. When I was younger, I always wanted to be a doctor. So I've always had this inbred thing to either want to teach or want people to be well. And so that's kind of still where my life is right now, just not put in a box. And what the Lord allowed me to do, based on my experience being violated, and I was a preschool teacher for a hot second, based on those experiences, what He's allowed me to do is birth a ministry. For those, it's actually for women, but for women of any age, be it young or old, who is actually suffered in silence, who has experienced sexual assault or sexual abuse, then you no longer have to, feel like you're alone. You have to understand that it wasn't your fault, and you will overcome. And so the Lord allowed me again to birth this ministry, which is, He gave me the name, and He even gave me the logo early. I was going to wear the shirt, but anyway, I don't have it on. So it's entitled Voice, and it stands for Victorious Overcomers Inspiring Christian Empowerment. Now, why is this essential? It's not just because people suffer in silence, but the church doesn't talk about stuff like this. And so it's a blessing that my pastor gave me the green light to be able to start a ministry, again, for women who have been sexually abused. And I can tell you, I launched this on April 19th this year, and it's been tremendous to see how people's lives have changed. I had an encounter with one of my children. I have 3 children. I have 3 teenage children at home. And this morning, like, all hell broke loose in my house. And my child, my baby boy, and I never really had real issues out of him. He was like, I don't even know, you think I'm happy with life? I'm not even happy with life. And I'm like, what? He's never spoken like that, but I understood it was an attack from the enemy. Because here I am to come here at this suicide awareness and prevention event, and my son is basically talking about, he doesn't even know why he's living. I knew what it was, and so you got to recognize the enemy when he comes. But he said, I don't know what my purpose is. He asked me what his purpose was, and I said, that's something I can't tell you. There is a journey to discovery. I said, but what I can tell you is that everybody was born to be a difference maker, but you've got to discover what that difference is. And so, thank you.
Amen.
Bad things happen to good people, and I was having a conversation with Ms. Howard here, and it's amazing that the experiences that you have, you got to figure out what works for you. My mantra is to just keep going. It doesn't mean that I'm just going to ignore problems, but it's that I'm not going to allow them to stop me. And so that mantra was birthed through trials. It was birthed through difficult experiences. And the one thing that keeps me and allows me to just keep going is my favorite verse, which is Romans 8:28. It's like, all right, this kind of sucks a little bit, but you know what? It's working for my good.
Yes.
Does anyone in here agree that all things really do work together for your good? So that's the truth that I stand on. And so while I may have been violated by this man, that man, this man, that man, and I have, like, on my dad's side of the family, I don't mean to be offensive, but I have a bunch of holy rollers on my dad's side of the family who are judgmental, and they cause you to feel shameful and guilty and all this other stuff. And so I took on those burdens. But I just thank God for having his hand on my life through it all. And I thank him that as of 2014, I can say I'm actually free. Because when I thought I was free, I wasn't. And so May 2013 was when God actually gave me the vision for voice. And again, I thought I was ready, but how many of you know about suppressed memories? It's when you take that thing, you push it down like it ain't even there. You just put it in the back of your mind. Well, I like to liken suppressed memories to compacted trash. The trash is there, and eventually it's going to stink, and at some point you got to just take it out. So those suppressed memories, you got to just let them be exposed. You got to deal with that thing. You got to deal with it from the root. And in April of last year, me not knowing initially that April was the month where sexual assault awareness is observed, I had started a blog. I don't know nothing about blogging, but I was inspired by a relative of mine. This is so interesting, she is actually a Waldorf resident, but she posted something on Facebook. It said, you know, visit my page, whatever. Her name is Tamara C. Walters. And so I was like, I wonder if DanielleNHall.com is available. I didn't know what I was going to do with this domain name, but I got it. And I was inspired to start writing. My very first post was, who am I and what's my why? So it made me look within to see, well, who exactly are you, Danielle? And so I told my story of who I am. But a couple of blog posts later, the Lord impressed upon me to tell my story. I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but he said to do it. And one thing I don't play around is being obedient to the voice of the Lord. If I hear him, he say do it, then I'm going to do it. Yes. Because I realized that it's not just my life that depends on whatever it is that he tells me to do, which is why I'm here today. But at any rate, so I said, okay, Lord, we're going to do this. I told my mom, I said, Mom, today's the day I tell my story. And so I wrote a blog post. It's entitled Dirty Little Secrets and the Little White Lie. So I essentially documented each of my experiences of being violated sexually in this writing, And those were the dirty little secrets, but the little white lies, I kept telling myself I was okay. Yeah. And I was not. So I had to own that thing. But again, I am now very much okay. And I just thank God for deliverance. Hallelujah. I thank him for being a keeper. I thank you all for allowing me to share with you.
Yes. Yes.
And just know that voice for the women, I'm sorry, Ed, but my vision is in the future to be able to partner with someone that can relate to the men, because I know it's not just women, but that's my story and I can relate to women. So I thank God for allowing me to birth the ministry. If you want more information, come and see me. I'm right here. I've got some brochures.